All right, this is the last skill builder 4 demo, and it's going to go through working with text, manipulating the text, so actually the font, and then combining letters and shapes together. So one last thing that I want you to do on this, on our circle that we have here, is you can see that it gives you a space. Where did it go? Oh, for distance. Okay, so you can, if you want that circle to be there or your shape to be there, but you want the text away from it, you can choose distance, and then you can push it out farther. Oops, still going. Just click on it to stop it. And then you can use your little red box here to kind of move it around where you want it to go. And then you've got some space. All right, go ahead and move that to the side. And then I want you to write a short word, okay? It should have a few letters in it, but a short word. So go ahead and do that while I do mine. When you're doing it, because it's like just one word, it's a title, we're just gonna click down once to do that. And then write your word in there. And then I want you to choose a font. So double click on it, go to your fonts and choose a font that has thickness to it. So it's a bolder font. You can do this with other fonts, but for you to really see how it's working, choose a thicker font. All right, so I'm gonna scroll through here. All right, I'm gonna choose this one again. And then make it bigger. So be clicked on it and then go to your size and just do that up arrow to change the size. All right, now what we're gonna do next is we are gonna actually change the font from a font to a shape. So when this happens, you aren't going to be able to go back in and change that font anymore or like retype the word. So I recommend that you make a copy of it. So Control C, Control V. There we've got a copy. You have all this space out here. Let me, so you have infinite amount of space, or not infinite, but you've got a ton of space around here that's extra workspace in order for you to be able to see that. So when I move it out there, it's kind of hidden. And I think it's because I have, we need to have all the pages on in order to see that. There we go. So here it is. This is what we're trying to get to. We'll be working on that next. So if you want to just have stuff on the side that you're not going to actually put in your artboard or in your project, but you want it to the side to come back to it later, I highly recommend that you do that. Okay, I'm going to have it kind of peeking because I'm going to turn this off for now so we can just look at one document at a time. All right, now that we've done this, just like we did with our shape to manipulate the shape and see the anchor points, we're going to go to the convert to path. So when we click on that, okay, so what's happened is, it's hard to tell when you have just the pointer tool, that regular selection, it's going to select all of it at once. Once you come to this sub-select, you can click on it and you can see all those anchor points. So this gives you some different options. So now you can start changing this font into creating your own font, essentially. So for example, I could click here. So right now that's the only point I have clicked on. So I can move that. If I hold Shift and click on multiple points like this, oops, they have to be blue. That's how I know they're selected. Then I can take this and I can move it around. Okay, so I want you to choose a couple parts of your font, of your word, and I want you to click on some parts of it and change it, manipulate it. What else? Something else that's nice is right now, because I moved the shape of this Z, there's a lot of space in here. Because this is a letter, I'll just click and drag over all of these. And then I should be able to move them all, move that whole letter closer so I can adjust my spacing that way, which is kind of nice. And then things like this, maybe I don't like the shape of that E. So I can come in and I can make that a curve. So in the joint here, I could make it a curve. Same with this one, could make it a curve. And then I can move these around, and I might even just want to delete some of them. So I can click delete, and then I'll make just a easier flow. I'll also show you one other thing that I'll do. This isn't coming out, the shape isn't coming out how I want it to. So I'll show you one thing in our next steps that we'll do. Okay, so next I want you to add, I'm going to do just the regular pointer selection. So now that we have this, these are all shapes and paths. When you go to borders right here, you can click the plus, and down on borders, you can choose a color right here. You could do a gradient in your border if you want. We can also put a gradient directly in the fill, or we should be able to. So got that cool color going around it. You can change the thickness of it right here. I'm going to do 2. Let's see if in the fill we could do a gradient in there as well. That's kind of cool. Okay, so put a border around it. Your choice if you want to add a gradient to your letters. In your name, you should have the same options in here as well. So you can also add borders directly to your text if you want to. Okay, so now that you've done that, I'm actually going to change my fill just back to a black and not have a gradient. So I want you to have a border around one of them. And then I'm going to show you how you can add some effects. So you should be able to do this just with the text as well, but we've got some blurs, shadows, color adjustments, things like that. So with blur, we can add a blur to this. It's going to slightly blur it, I believe. Should work. Let's try a different one. We can add a drop shadow. I'm going to try coming in with a sub-select and see if that makes it look better. Okay, here we go. So what you have to do is you have to add an effect. Okay, so here are some different effects: the blurs, vignettes, mirrors, overlay, shadows. So you have to add it first, and then you can go and adjust it. So if I add the mirror in here, it should show up. Okay, so I was adding all of these effects and nothing was working, so I closed out of the program and I saved first, closed out of the program, so closed out of the tab, and then reopened, and it was all there. It just wasn't showing up for some reason. So you can start to see some of it, and like the blur on there, I'm just going to trash that, and then you can see the mirror is on here. Boom. Okay, so padding. So that's how far away it is, the space. And then height, you can bring that up. So you can change how much you see. You can change the opacity. Does it stand out a lot or a little? So there's lots of different effects on here. And then, so you just want to do a plus. So I want you to add at least one effect to this. I have 1,000,000 right now because I didn't realize I was adding them on. And then if you decide that you don't want something, you can just press the trash can and delete it out. So how you get it on there is just to do the plus if you don't see it. Or you can just click on the plus of where the word is and it'll show up. Okay, so like right now, I don't need that drop shadow, so I'm just going to trash out both of these so that I don't have the drop shadow in there. There we go. All right, so add at least one effect. You can play with more. And then you can also add effects to text without having to convert it. So I can go here and I can add any of those effects as well. So you can do it before or after you turn it into a shape. All right, we're gonna do one more. And this time I want you to just choose a letter, bold font, copy it 3 times, and then same thing, I want you to choose a shape, copy it 3 times. So you can follow along with what I'm doing if you want. So just click down once. I'm gonna type the letter O. I'm gonna make it big. So I'm gonna come here, make it big like this. And then I'll do Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. So I've got 3 of them. And then I want you to create a shape, any shape of your choice. I'm going to do a star. Change this to a color, just so it's easier to see as we go through this process. I'm going to do just a bright color so you can see it easily. And then duplicate that. So you've got 3 total. All right, so we're going to see how this works with our compound shapes. So we can combine letters and shapes together. So one thing I didn't do yet that is important to do before we start. So first you have to have your shape overlapping your letter, okay? And then you'll click and drag both. Now, when I try and go to my union right now, it's not doing anything. Oh, it did do it. You might run into an issue if you do this and you don't turn it into a path first. So if it's just not doing anything, turn it into a path first. But if it works, great. So union, we can see we have, I'm going to shift this a little bit. So we can unite multiple things together. So if I have both of these selected, so I don't want both stars. And I do the union, I have this new piece right here. So this is all one shape now instead of 2 separate ones. So go ahead and unite a letter and a shape. This next one is going to be subtract. So that's like that cookie cutter. So it's going to come and cut out part of it. So I could do it on the side here. And I just want to click and drag so I have both of those selected. And you'll do the next one down, which is subtract. Okay, so you can see how that's going to overlap. This might look kind of cool with the shape if you can see more of the shape, or if I have less of that white space in there. I can click and drag. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Because they're so close together, I'm going to click on one, hold shift, click on the next. And then do a subtract. All right, so we can see how now this, if we hover over something else, we can see through that part. And then this, once again, overlap your shape with your letter, select both of them, and we're going to go to the last compound shape, which is difference. And that, so it changed this to black. Let's try changing the fill again. Normally it's not supposed to do that. Let's try it again. Difference. That's not acting how it's normally would. I'll show you over here. Okay, so what it's supposed to do, and hopefully I will do it for yours, is it's supposed to, wherever those 2 are intersecting, it's going to flip the value where they intersect. So the letter was black, so where the star is, it's going to be white, and then on the outside of that, it's flipping the star to be black. Okay, so yours should work that way. I'm not sure what the deal is with this. I might have to restart again. So save often, and then you might have to restart if you're having issues with this. You could also try this with no fill. Okay, so you could bring that opacity to 0. There'd be no fill. And then you could, let's click on this star. And then you could add a border. So I'll do the plus to add a border, and I have a black border. And you could also see what it does with just a border on there as well. All right, so those are the 3 that we did. Yeah, this is kind of weird. Try yours. Yours should work. All right, once you're done with this, we are totally done with Skill Builder 4. So here's how I want you to save it. You're going to go to File. Going to think about it. You're going to do Download File. So some of you might have been doing this throughout the whole process, but you're going to download it, and that's going to download it as a Gravit Designer document, and you'll upload that to Skill Builder 4 folder in Google Drive, and then you're going to save it one other way. You are going to go to Export and click on PDF and then 150 DPI. Okay, that's the main document that I'll look at when I'm grading your Skill Builder. So you can see it downloaded as a PDF, and when I click on it, you should be able to see all of yours. Okay, you won't have as many pages. I have a few different demos that I was doing, but you'll have the fish on the bottom of yours here. Okay, so download it, file, and then do export, save as a PDF, get those both uploaded to your Google Drive Skill Builder 4 folder.